I'm recording now. Welcome to this podcast. Okay, this is how we turn this off. Two people being intentionally rude on purpose. It's okay. It's okay. Welcome to the Inscript Podcast. My name is Devin Adams, CEO, mindset guy, head coach, determined to inspire. I'm here with Big Tree, Big Sleepy Tree, Big Tree Fall Hard, Big Tree Sleepy, Skinny Waterman, Sir Patricklets, Sir Patricklets. What else we got, Pat?
I have no idea.
Groot.
Yeah.
Groot. Fundamentals of credit. Hawk. Yeah, I know, nigga. Let me get there. Jesus.
This don't ask me then. Like, which make up your mind? How you gonna ask me what else we got and then say Jesus? Like, which one?
Well, I was about to follow up. I was just trying to get you to participate because you're so down and out. Drink your water. You good. We have Star-Lord. I'm sorry?
Said it's good.
Okay. We have Star-Lord in the building, David Stills. Sponsorship, Sparkling Nice. If y'all want to shoot us some sponsorships, go ahead. Shout out to ShopRite with the mussels I had. The seafood section was incredible this afternoon. Murdered some mussels. David, how are you? How's your day real quick, bro?
I mean, it was mostly good. I had a weird moment about a couple minutes ago, but other than that, it was a pretty good day.
You had a weird moment. What was so weird about your moment, real quick? If you don't.
My moment? No, I'm not going to talk about that. I just was saying it's been pretty much a good day.
Okay, well, this is a podcast, and we're fully transparent here. We have a lot of people listening. Shout out to all the listeners in the world. If you don't want to share your personal moments, you don't have to. It's okay.
Huh?
If you're having a personal moment you don't want to share, that's okay. This whole podcast is about sharing personal moments today, though. So if you don't want to get off to a hot start, that's okay.
Devin, you sound offensive right now.
Well, I'm just saying, we're about to get into some personal moments based off of what you went through with your family today, some things that I did. But if you don't want to talk about a personal moment, this might not be the right episode for you to participate in.
Terrible.
Oh, wow. So you're just making all these decisions, right?
Somebody got to make them.
Devin Decision Maker Adams. That's what it is.
Yeah, middle name. Yeah.
It's a good name. It's a good name for Devin.
Thanks, Dave. I appreciate it, man.
There's a lot of names with D that are good for Devin, like Decision Maker or Dangerous, stuff like that. Yeah. So anyway.
I know what you want to say. That's funny, though. That's good.
Oh, no, I didn't. What happened?
No, that's good.
What are you thinking about?
Hey, it's okay.
This is a weird beginning to a podcast.
It's okay.
It's going to flesh out.
It's okay. Yeah. But shout out to all our listeners. Like I said, we had the most listeners in the month of June, so that was fantastic. The most downloads. So that's clutch. So, like I said, we just did one with Kevin. Shout out to Spider-Man. First time he was on the episode. We got Star-Lord. Y'all know he's a common person on here now. Basically, he runs this show too. So, like I said, David, thanks for making the time. Pat, thanks for making the time. I wanted to get this started off with just a quick update. Like, we've been talking about some heavy stuff, and it's been a heavy moment. And, it kind of died down some because momentum is lost a lot of times. But, stuff hasn't changed. Very much stuff hasn't superly changed people on a personal level. All seriousness, I don't know if Patton has gone through anything to date. But I do know that David had a really weird, interesting moment. I'm going to let him talk about it. And that's why I said this one's just going to be a quick little update to just be able to empathize, if you want to use that word, or even sympathize with the struggles that actually some people that you're listening to right now are experiencing, but also just listen to their story. Because David has a story. I have another story that's super relevant. And that's pretty much what we're going to do. We're going to have a nice little story time. We're going to have a nice little instant grits story time. So you got your grits, pull them out, eat them. You know what I mean? I'm a salt guy. Patton, are you a grits guy? Are you a sugar or salt guy?
No sugar and grits.
Yeah, that's
cheese and butter. Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Dave?
I'm not a grits person in general, but when I eat them, I mean, you maybe cheese, something like that.
Okay.
Some cheese.
Okay.
Yeah.
So real quick. So Dave, did you want to go tell your story first? Because I think it's really cool if you go first. I can go first. That's superly cool as well. But I'm trying to give you the floor.
I'm happy to go first. My computer has been freezing a lot. So will one of you just stop me if it gets really bad? Because
yeah, I will stop you, or I know your story, so I'll just elaborate until you come back in, and I'll update you on what I just said. So we're good to go, bro. We're good. We live, we rolling. David, the floor is yours. Shout out to Gamora for making moves. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, basically, my wife Melissa took.
You're good. So, like we just said, we're gonna practice. You're good. You're good. Melissa, aka Gamora, took the kids to the park.
Yeah. She took the kids to the park yesterday, just like always. And the park it's like fenced in, and it has 3 different sections where the children can play. Has 2 different play structures, and then like a younger age, like a fake train and everything for kind of like your more toddler age children.
Gotcha.
Along with that, there's a tennis court that is fenced in itself, and nobody was on the tennis court. Oh, did I just freeze again? Nobody was on the tennis court yesterday.
Stay strong.
No?
You're good,
okay,
bro. You're
I'm gonna stay strong.
You cooking with fire right now. You're cooking.
All right. Nobody was on the tennis court yesterday. So it was just Melissa and then my 2 children at the playground. They had the whole playground to themselves. So I wasn't there, but according to Melissa, they were just throwing sticks up in the air, kind of like just having fun by the tennis court. And 2 of the sticks got onto the tennis court in that fenced-in area. A woman across the street, not even on the side of, was walking her dog and started yelling at my kids, telling them, saying things like, "Hey, that's not what you do on the playground. You need to know better than that. Stop throwing those sticks." So my wife went over and said, "I'm sorry, you can't talk to my children like that. Like you're actually screaming at them. That's scary, and I'm not going to allow you to talk to my kids like that."
Yeah, good morning.
The woman said, "Well, watch out, because if it's not me, then some cops will come by, and you better believe they'll talk to them." And, Melissa said, "So you're telling me that a cop is going to come by and yell at some kids for throwing sticks?" And she said, "Well, they will when I call them."
Oh.
And then Melissa
Look at the
said,
big balls on her. Big balls, huh?
Yeah. So Melissa said, "Oh, when I call the cops on you for yelling at my children?" And they went back and forth. And, what ended up happening was the woman started berating Melissa's parenting, telling her that she doesn't know how to raise kids, and that her children never did that. And she has grandchildren. Her grandchildren would never act that way. Mm-hmm. And, you need to do a better job. And then Melissa just responded like, "I'm sorry. I'm a mother, and I'm a teacher, and I know how to deal with children. And they're acting within the normal range for children. And you can't talk to my children like that. And this is over." And she just turned around and walked away.
Shout out to Mel.
So, she had to kind of convert. This was a white woman, of course.
Karen.
Thought she knew everything.
Yeah.
Who saw some brown people. And, I'm proud of Melissa. She stayed calm. She didn't lose it. She wasn't yelling. She remained intelligent. In a situation that is stressful. And the reason I'm saying that is because the kids saw it, and they're going to need to understand that, one, you don't, unless you have to. If it's a dangerous situation, that's different. But if it's not a dangerous situation, even if it's stressful, you don't back down, but you also don't play on their playing field. So Melissa actually remained in control the entire time. She controlled the situation, and she walked away. She ended the conversation when she was done. Mm-hmm. But
what you have done if you was there?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know, Devin. I've been thinking about that, and it might have been similar to what Melissa did.
Sure.
If I'm being honest, it might have been much more, like, I might have been quiet. I might have actually just kind of looked at her and been like, "Don't pay her any."
Okay. So all seriousness, you did freeze, but you just said you probably wouldn't pay her no mind, right? That's what you said?
That's another possibility. I might have just told the kids, just leave, just don't pretend like you don't hear her.
What if you was by yourself with her and Mel wasn't there?
Sorry?
If you was by yourself and Mel wasn't there, that's the...
Well, maybe, because the thing is, what I'm always thinking about is what neighborhood am I in, and who, like, that woman was yelling. Mm. So I'm like, okay, who lives in that house? Who lives in that house? Who lives in that house? And how exposed are we right now? You know what I mean? Like, regardless of what's actually happening, what do I have any other friends on this block or not?
It's funny that you said that, though.
Yeah.
It's interesting, because I think I just told Patton, I don't know if I told Patton this offline, but somebody I was just talking to about how a educated black man is going to think about these certain things before they decide to react emotionally, or they're going to think about these things, and they're going to take things into consideration before they react. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of times that gets lost sometimes. Patton, did you have anything you want to say? What would you have done if your 4 boys was playing down there?
I have
no right or wrong answer here. I'm just trying to get a feel for it.
No, I really, honestly, knowing myself, I just pray not to be in that situation.
Yeah, because you chill all the time, but
Because I know,
I said you chill all the time, but I've seen you get mad a couple times.
Yeah, I try not to often. It's not because I just don't,
Yep.
I don't really like that person. So something like that, like I could take you yelling at me better
Yep.
than I could take you yelling at my children for doing something that, is very like Dave said, it's very normal for kids to do. You toss a stick, you toss a rock, as long as you're not, maliciously throwing it at anybody or animal or dog or whatever. And then for you not even to be, I could see if she was playing tennis and she was worried about a stick hitting her in the head or something like that.
Know that.
But you're across the, shut the hell up.
Yeah.
And that's nice.
That's
very nice.
That's nice.
I mean,
what?
And to tell you the truth, we were in the two options that I gave were like, maybe I would handle it like Melissa, maybe I would stay, hang back. There's always the third option. And, there's a lot of options, but we were actually in a restaurant one time, and it was one of those restaurants where they have like the play areas for the children. And some woman started talking the wrong way to Delia. And I got kind of loud.
Shout out to Delia. That's my little youngin'. Yeah.
And Melissa, I didn't know I was getting, it's like whenever I get into that third mode, I don't even know it. Melissa has to tell me.
Sure.
She's like, David, you're being loud. You're doing this now. Like you're in the danger zone right now. Everybody's watching you, and it's like, it's not fair because I wasn't wrong when I was addressing the woman.
Sure.
But this stuff from me in public, there's a thin line. There's a thin line between.
Nah, bro. There's no line at all.
Yeah.
So. Nah, bro. Thank you for sharing. Like I said, we laugh, kid, and joke around, but we still all three of us have lives. We all have different lives, and we still are all Black men, and we all are family people. And it's certain things that are still hurting other people out there too. Other listeners are still going through things too. But nah, I appreciate you sharing that, David. I really do. And Patton, I know you've had a long day too, so thanks for giving your input because being vulnerable isn't necessary all the time. But y'all decided to do that and share some of your inner feelings with that. So, Dave, thank you. And like I said, Delia, that's my little youngin'. Everett, we was just sitting down at the table. We was making those rubber band beads or whatever. And it's just amazing to see how they're growing up so fast. And you already know, Pat, I'm always with your kids all the time, running around, playing with them, fighting them, playing with them out in the backyard. So I can't even imagine. Personally, if I see somebody yelling at the little fast twin, I'm gonna grab him and move him aside. And then I might just, it wouldn't be good. It wouldn't be good. So,
I don't want to. I just pray not to be in that situation.
I know. I will move you aside, Pat. I'm like, Pat, come here, Pat.
That's not gonna work at that point.
I don't know. I'll hop on your back or something. Use me as a weapon.
It's almost like
I can't imagine. I don't have kids.
What's weird is, like you said, we, as growing and maturing, you want to kind of think through situations, right? Especially in a sensitive time like the time that we're living in.
Yeah.
But I won't speak for anybody else, but it's like I will almost feel guilty for not snapping. You know what I mean? Like it would be like, why did I allow this to just walking away peacefully or not saying anything or trying to survive the encounter? That's why do I have to live in a world where if somebody wrongs my children, I have to be conscious of how I respond because it may not go good for all of us. Like, what kind of BS is that?
Is there a difference in this right here? And I'm asking both of you before we move on. Is there a difference between being conscious and aware? They're almost the same. Being aware,
almost, but
I don't know.
But different.
Is it?
I think awareness, I can still respond how I want to respond. I'm aware of where I am. I'm aware of what's around, who's around. I'm aware of what I'm saying. I still may say it, but I'm just aware of it. So, if the police do show up, yes, I did say that. I'm aware of that. Yeah. Okay. Conscious to me is more, I'm doing less responding more thinking.
Or processing more thinking.
That's the connotation I take from when you're saying, conscious. But
I'm not trying to trap you. Like I said,
that's just me. Yeah, no. That's just me. I'm just,
David, did you want to touch on that really quickly before you move on real quick? That whole conscious versus awareness type of delineation between, the thing you went through?
I mean, I think I understand where Patton's coming from.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You could, like, I've made decisions to fight before. In fact.
Oh, I think we're losing you, bro. You have to bring it back.
Uh-oh.
So the last thing I heard you say was in fact, but
in fact, like in high school, for example, right? Am I okay? In high school, when you make the decision to fight, you are very aware of that because everybody's big now. It's going to hurt. You might lose. You don't know. You know what I mean? You're going to get into some real trouble. It's actually scary. You're aware that you're going to fight somebody.
Mm-hmm.
When you're younger, you can get into fights, I think, without even being aware. But,
we hear you, bro.
That was a perfect pause, though.
It's like semantics, you know what I mean? We're not necessarily really giving the definition of awareness and consciousness, but in this context, with these semantics, I get what I agree with him.
So I'm going to shift this. I'm going to give my story, but what this is really coming down to, and we can spend maybe about 5 to 10 more minutes probably, is a black man and how they choose to protect the people in their lives, and a black man and how they choose to protect women. Why am I saying that? Because my example, I had 2 women call me up today, and they said, thank you for doing what you did, but they also shared their perspective on why they feel black men need to protect women more. And then I also spoke to 2 men today in our Apex group too, and then they gave their perspective on, black men should protect women, but we can't protect all women. Nor am I called to protect all women just because you're going through something. And I was like, ooh. I said, this is interesting. Ooh. So I did. I said, this is very interesting because women say that black men need to protect black women, and we do that. That's why I did what I did today. That's why I made the video. But I also said it's a interesting line. And what happened to me is a very quick story. Long story short, getting my car inspected, a man was yelling at a woman across the counter who worked there, and he was yelling at her really loud. I did a quick scan. That's why I said, David, you said you was thinking about these other things. That's why I brought up, and then Patton said the awareness and consciousness. I took a scan of the room real quick. I'm like, wow, this is bothering me. Let me look around, right? And I saw all these men in there not doing anything. And by all these men, I mean like it was like 4 or 5, but people were working there. Men were working there. Nobody did a thing. He leaves the room, but he's on his phone, and as he's leaving, he's like, this dumb BITCH told me to do this, and this CUNT said this, blah, 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 and this B. And I see an employee open the door for him, like he's a regular customer, and he leaves, right? I'm pissed now, because I'm just like, I look at the youngin', she's chilling, but I can tell that wasn't right. So then I'm looking around like, nobody's doing anything. The employees ain't doing anything. Then, like I said, processing, right? We said this. I didn't just go after him. I went to her first. I said, excuse me, was he talking about you this entire time that he was on the phone? She said, yeah, but don't worry about it. I said, okay, I'll be right back. As I'm walking and following him now, I then see he has a couple of people in the car, but at this point he has distance between us, right? So all I'm saying is this. I didn't say, yo, bro, don't say no BITCH. Don't call nobody no bitch in no establishment. And he says, what do you mean? Don't say that shit. Don't say no dumb shit like that again, right? Those are the things I said to him. He then starts walking towards me. I didn't move, though, because I'm comfortable. Like, I felt called to do it. So I knew that I was going to be able to get out of any situation, or I was protected. He then says, no. All I was trying to do was do this. And she said this. I said, quite frankly, I don't really care. I said, I don't like the word. She doesn't like it. Don't use it no more. He then says, was she your girlfriend? I'm like, it doesn't matter. Don't say that. Don't say no dumb shit like that again. That was my go-to phrase for that day, for this morning. Dumb shit. Don't say that again, right? So then he's walking away, cussing and stuff. I'm like, that's cool. I said, I'm built for that. Don't say that shit to her no more. He then goes to his car, but I see some other guys in the car. But at the same time, that's where it can get tricky, right? Because I already knew if he was already here, I had enough hand skills to put him down real quick and leave, or be able to observe and see what's going on in the car. You know what I mean? So it's tricky though, because she needed help. We don't want to watch our women be treated like that. Empathetically or sympathetically, switching that role, that's hard to deal with. I don't want nobody yelling at me. A woman doesn't want another grown man yelling at her, calling her names, right? However, that's where it gets tricky because some people mind their business. Some people like, yo, I have a family at home myself. I'm a father. I'm a uncle. I have kids. I have sisters. I'm not called to save everybody, nor am I. And that's why I wanted to get y'all aspect on it, because I had 2 friends of mine, actually 3, women, and said, great, that was awesome. And then they said, like, this is why we feel like we're not protected. And I was like, ooh. But as a man, I'm like, every situation isn't good. Alcohol involved sometimes. You know what I mean? Certain situations. Go ahead, Dave. My bad.
No, I'm saying you said alcohol. I was just extending the list. You got weapons too.
Like, how much risk are we willing to put ourselves in to defend them, which they deserve to be defended because of just the nature of things. But there's also a disconnect of things too, being a black man and a black woman, systematic stuff. But like I said, it gets tricky. Like, how much risk are we willing to put ourselves into if you're not thinking? That's why I consciously thought. I talked to her. I looked around the room. I saw where he was going. I then said, okay, I could take him if I need to. I was prepared. I went through that in my, you know what I mean? It's very different, bro. I think it's harder for us because we want to do the right thing. But we can also articulate ourselves to validate why we chose not to at certain points.
Very true.
It's just a hard. That's why I said this won't be a long talk. We can always talk about this later. But Dave, you're in deep thought.
Well, I think sometimes, and I can't speak for everybody, right? It's
sure
the point at which you need to take action is probably going to be different depending on the context and the scenario and actually who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, if you weigh 90 pounds and you have asthma, I don't see you doing what Devin just did.
I'm little though.
It doesn't make sense. It's like, because that person is going, this is how men think. Now we're doing a whole different thing.
This dude was bigger than me, David, though. And I'm little, based off your example.
I know, but you were a problem.
Okay, continue.
You were a problem for him.
Okay.
I mean, men, testosterone is fun.
Yeah, we need some testosterone in this Wi-Fi. Oh, hey, what's up? Did you hear what I said? Could you hear it?
I did.
That was good. I'm glad you go ahead though. Continue. You good now? You fresh?
Oh my God. Anyway, that's funny.
That's pretty good, right?
No, it was good. But anyway, let me back it all the way up because there's so many different branches we could go on this tree. One question that I have what is true protection? Now, if pushed in a moment, I remember, and I won't get the whole thing, but I remember, it might have been 10 years ago now, Melissa and I had moved, and this moving company that we dealt with was messing with us, and they were late, like several days late, and then they didn't move the stuff the way that they promised to do it. And it's like 7 a.m, and they're messing around with us. And I remember the moment where I lost track of what I was doing, right? Because the guy said, I'm sorry, he was smoking a cigarette, and he said, I'm sorry. And then he goes, and then he gets in her face and says, I said, I can't help you. And then all of a sudden I was in motion. It wasn't even now that's an example of not awareness. That's an example of, this is my wife. Something inside of my heart went, no, you know what I mean? And I was moving, and Melissa, I remember feeling her arm and me actually going like this, and then realizing, okay, I'm out of control.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why is she holding my arm right now? Oh, because I'm actually about to get into a rumble right now. This is about to happen.
Rumble night.
But I didn't know that. So I got pushed. See, that's something, and it happened. It just, you know what I mean? Now, that's one example of where, I mean, I actually wish she didn't hold my arm. I would have liked to just punch him square in the nose and see where that whole situation went. I still kind of wish that I had that opportunity.
I'm not being real. I'm not laughing at you. I just know that feeling. Like, I wish I had it just to see where we would have ended up.
Yeah. Like,
dance.
That would have, because I was a little bit wild in that moment. I was ready. Something inside of me on a very primal nature said, this isn't okay. But in the long run, those situations are rare.
They are.
What's hard about being black, I'm just going to cut right to it,
okay,
is we have very little protection.
Black has very little protection.
And I think that sometimes people can press that in the wrong and say, we need you to protect us, because they never feel protected, because that's inherent in the experience. So the protection that they want is it's an entire life project and a series of life projects. It's not one. So it's me doing something because my father did something, and then my son doing something, and then maybe there's some protection. It's not a. So that guy calling that woman a bitch, so that's not good. And it's nice that you were able to speak up, and that probably made her day. But that's not the protection that we're talking about.
I agree.
The protection that they are feeling when they're saying we need to feel protected is not. It's a different thing. I want security. I actually want security. I'm tired of this. That's what they're actually saying.
Okay.
Man.
And Pat, go before we close out.
I want to do it.
Go ahead, Pat. You got a few minutes before we close out. Because we can always do a part 2. Because this goes into a lot of the stuff that you and me was talking about earlier for another episode.
Yeah, man. But you know that whole concept that Dave is describing, and it's not.
Well said too.
To sound like, yeah, definitely. But it's not to sound like it's I'm opposed to protecting women, or it's like I don't want to. But that whole thing is systemic. We know that because we talked about the slavery and the Willie Lynch and how the white slave masters would purposely put black male slaves in situations where they look less of a man to their women. So they do things.
God damn it. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, because it's true, but you just see it playing out in a different way today. So that longing for security is a generational thing, from back there. But the whole thing of it is we're not protected because our rights just to be a human being aren't protected, which is why Black lives really matter. The real reason why that phrase is, being echoed or whatever. But it's difficult because when you go into action, like how Dave is talking about, what happened with that gentleman, and let's just say, he went into action and he did something. Well, it's 2 recourses that could possibly happen, 3 actually, but he socks the guy. His wife feels great. Thank you. That's a one-time thing, like he said. But he has to do that over and over and over again. Each situation is going to yield something different. The next time it may be where somebody calls the police. And now, charges are being brought on him because he assaulted somebody. Or the next situation would be somebody may not take too kindly to be punched in the nose and they go grab a gun. Now it turns into something. So it's man, it's a real, that one is a real fine line, and it's really situational. And so you have to kind of be smart, aware, conscious, but very in the moment conscious, if that's like any type of concept or whatever. Like you have to be able to make decisions very quickly in that time space, because you don't know what the outcome is going to be based off of how you're feeling. Your feelings to you, they feel validated. Like, okay, well, this is something that I have to do. You feel compelled to do it, especially if it's your wife. That's what you're supposed to do. Yeah. But then it's like, okay, how do I, number one, let her know that she's protected, protect my manhood by responding, but then get us home safe and survive this encounter.
That's a dance, yo.
It's a heavy dance, heavy balance.
Heavy balance. And I'll close out and I'll give y'all the closing words after this. And I'm just going to say, like, I had a few people bring up, and we've seen this in the workplace. Mm-hmm. Men saying the wrong thing to our women in the workplace, touching them or saying inappropriate things in schools and office buildings. We've seen it out in public. We've seen it in restaurants. It's tough. And that's all I'm going to say. It's tough because even a unconscious man has empathy towards a woman because that's where they came from. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying they feel all called to do something, But it will touch one of those strings of, I'm a man. Something should happen. I don't know if I'm gonna do it because I need to mind my business. You know, like black people say, we see stuff all the time. We turn the music up if we hear something going on upstairs, or you know what I mean. Like we mind our business. But like I said, it's very, very interesting. And today, after David I talked to Dave, and Pat and me talk, getting your perspective on things, and then me making that decision I made today, and then talking to people. When it is never really a right time, but how do you in your subconscious say, okay, I'm willing to not risk it all, but I'm willing to deal with the consequences, lose my job, to talk about my boss or report him, get in a physical altercation, go with Dave, and then Pat, and you can close out because you're getting worked up, Dave. Yeah, about 5 more minutes. Like I said, we're doing a good job on time. Thank you too.
I don't know. I don't have a lot to say. It's crazy, you know. I don't know how. It's scary to think that I don't know how I would have responded. You know, just going back to the playground thing. And you know, I agree with what Tim said. You know, if I didn't respond in a protective way, you know, even after the fact, then you're walking around with guilt, and you have that the psychological stuff to deal with now, where you're like, am I a man? And that's a funny question, you know. And then
is that the most important question though for tonight though? Because we've all part of different examples of it. At a club last year, David, I was dating a youngin'. She's super cool. I talked to her today. Some bartender was like giving her the glass and then not bringing it back, and she's like reaching for it and then pulling it away. I was like, I moved. I said, let's just slap this shit right out of his hand. But at the same time, you see what I mean? I felt good that I did that because I felt like I came to her like defense. And she was cool about it because she was getting pissed. But it's also like, yo, you got to weigh some of this stuff you're doing now. But I felt good because it fed that ego. It fed that man, that testosterone, that hit. But it's not. So
Devin,
go ahead.
No, I don't know. And the thing is, the one thing that my children are teaching me is the long game. That's the one thing that I'm learning. Just by being a father, because it's you know, great. I have a lot of things that I would like to see come to fruition that I have to wait for, and I'm doing the work now and I won't see the results for 10 years, 15 years, and that's what I think about with that whole ego feed, because I need, look, this is a really old-fashioned way to put it, but men have egos, women have egos. Yeah. And we need different things. But if a man does not feel useful, that's not gonna work. That like I said, that's just over. Like it might be a shell of a relationship for a while and then he's gone. Yep. If a man doesn't feel useful or appreciated.
I knew you was gonna say that word next. I was waiting for you to say that, David. I knew you was gonna say it. Boom. Drop the hammer. That's it.
Yeah.
Useful and appreciated. I know you're frozen right now, David, but I knew that I was waiting for one of y'all to say that word because I knew that.
Yeah,
I'm freezing all over the place. I'm sorry.
You are, but we got you covered, bro. We ain't trying to play you. We're saying that's exactly it. Go ahead.
Yeah, and the thing is, you don't necessarily always need an external source to tell you that you're useful, but you have to feel it inside. If you don't feel it inside, you're in trouble.
True indeed.
We might need to do another one of these.
That long game is important.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because if you can see what you're working towards, even when other people around you can't see it right away, you'll know. And then later when something happens, you can refer to it. You can say, oh, look, and you can talk to your kids like, that's why daddy was always up an extra hour or two in the office doing this, because now look, we don't have to worry about X, Y, and Z. Listen. But that was years ago. Remember that? Well, that's how this works. Mm-hmm. So when you grow up and you do your thing, remember that you have to support your family this way, and remember that one of the biggest ways that you can support your family if you're with a man is to support him in that, and if you are a man, to believe in yourself, and then that's the long game. That's. Yep. But it takes a while, and it's an everyday reminder. You have to look in the mirror and be like, okay, all right, here we go. Yeah.
That's true.
Useful and appreciated. That's the key to having a man make sure that he
gives you everything that you want. And
yes,
we're gonna end it right.
He's a genie. He'll do anything. You want your man to lose weight and run 26 miles tomorrow? Appreciation. If he's a good man, if he's worth anything.
If he's worth
appreciation, sex, food. You get everything you want. I just gave the game away for free. That
could be a nice 3-page book. That would be a bestseller.
That's it.
That's a book.
That's it.
That's a book.
50 cents. 50-cent book. Hey, 50-cent book, The Code to Life. But
right.
No, that useful and appreciation, patents breakdown. Like I said, this isn't. It's funny, but I mean, it's very important. And I'm just going to leave it alone because, like I said, I think we've covered a lot already. And I feel like we did it quickly. So I know we all tired. Patton, you good, bro? All seriousness.
Great, man. No, I'm good.
All right, man. Like I said, we got some work to do tomorrow.
Yeah, long day tomorrow.
Long day tomorrow. David, long day. So everybody, thank y'all for tuning in. This was just like a quick little update. We haven't been out in a while, so we coming back. Star-Lord, Professor Hulk. And what we're going to do now, we're going to say thank you to all the listeners, man. Like,
appreciate you, man.
Yeah, because I do get calls and text messages from time to time. Not all the time. And like, yo, that was great. Thank you. I needed that. Or I was driving and I was like, oh, man, it's going to be a good episode for me to drive to. Mm-hmm. And like I said, everybody all over the world now, all the downloads and listeners, much respect. We love you. Shout out to the Apex Men's Group. We're doing some big things on that end as well. Mm-hmm. Shout out to David. And quick shout out to David and Mel for Worker Bee Productions. Editing, copywriting. And like I tell everybody, if you have a product or a service and you don't understand the value of copy on a landing page, if you have a landing page, that means that's where people go to see what your product is and your words are not right, you cannot convert. So having a person of Mel's caliber on the squad who understands copy and copywriting and who was up reading it and studying like 5, 6, 7 hours and stuff like Mel's this is going to be a problem. So y'all about to see a lot of content being produced by these Apex dudes. About to see a lot of content. I'm getting tired. What am I trying to say? About to see a lot of what?
Content being produced.
Content. Yes, not context. Content being produced. So like I said, shout out to Dave. Shout out to Mel. So thank y'all for that. And we're going to be, me and Patton already talking. We all got stuff. So we're going to make sure we get that Worker Bee Productions info out to everybody. Book editing, we have it now. Contact, email me, text me, and I will put y'all in contact with Dave. Super reasonable rates because we understand that we got to serve our community. So LLCs, hit us up. We got that whole product. Oh my God, I'm not going to even get started. We have so much that we have in store for everybody to help. Be people of service. Yeah. God wants you to be authentic. He doesn't want you to be a clone. And we trying to be authentically ourselves and help everybody. So everybody stay safe. Make moves, move markets, believe bigger, faster. God blesses the work. Peace out. Love y'all.
Peace.
Peace.